Good morning, everyone. This is Bill Klingberg with SCORE. Welcome to our presentation on Instagram secrets. Thanks very much for showing up, and we're going to give you a good show today. First, a couple of words about SCORE if you're not familiar. We have 11,000 volunteers across the United States with backgrounds in all different kinds of industries and all different specialties. We have lawyers, we have accountants, we have sales and marketing, manufacturing folks. The key to SCORE is to find a mentor who has done what you're trying to do. Like if you want to start a restaurant, I am not your guy because I sold pumps my entire career. I go into a restaurant, eat, pay, and leave. But we have mentors who own restaurants and or have owned restaurants and can help guide you. So there's going to be more on finding a mentor. Our services are free. We have 150 different members here in Houston. I do not know when we'll get to go face-to-face with you again, but all of us are more or less visual and online with mentoring. And so a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, put all your questions in the Q&A button and the down below, and the presenter will answer them when she wants to, during the presentation or later. It's being recorded, and the slide deck will also be available as a PDF on SCORE's website, houston.score.org, under the Take a Workshop button. And you'll find a link to all of our recordings and PowerPoints. There's also a poll question near the end. I want you to rate the webinar. We appreciate your feedback, please. And a reminder on how to find a mentor, because again, that is the key to getting free help from SCORE, is to find someone that you can relate to and learn from and not make the same mistakes that we all made. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jasmine Augustine to you, and she will take it away. Thanks, Jasmine. It's yours.
Thanks so much, Bill, and to SCORE for having me here. And hello, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen, and I will introduce a little bit about myself so that you know a little bit more about me. And we will start with our Instagram secrets revealed. Let me just fix my screen here so I can see. And as Bill said, please, if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A box. I will try to answer them as I'm going along or at the end as well. All right, so who am I? First of all, I have a master's in social work. It's a little bit different than social media, but somehow I've landed in the world of social media. I have been doing this for 3 years. I've also been an entrepreneur for over 6 years. Within those 6 years, I have won 3 different awards, and I'm also a full-time work from home and stay-at-home mom. I like to throw that in there because as an entrepreneur, I think, and as a woman and as a mom, I think that's important for those to be able to relate to me. I'm a social media coach and a full service social media manager. And what those 2 things mean is I can coach you and guide you and train you on what you need to do. And I also do full service social media management, where I take social media off of business owners and entrepreneurs' plates and let them do what they need to do. My areas of expertise are digital strategy, branding, and marketing. I've done marketing both online and offline, so I have a wide range of knowledge and information to share with you. And the platforms that I specialize in are Instagram and Facebook, but today we'll mostly be talking about Instagram. So why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this for the know, like, and trust factor. So if you know anything about marketing, you'll hear this a lot. You want people to be able to know, like, and trust you. This is as equally important on social media as it is offline, right, in person. And I would say it's probably even more important with social media because we're not face to face, right? On social media, we're looking at our phones, maybe scrolling on our computers a little bit, but it's sometimes hard to create a know, like, and trust factor on social media. So before I get into the Instagram secrets revealed, I wanted to make sure that this was talked about so that it's as a reminder to make sure that your audience and your potential customers and current customers are able to relate to you and get to know, like, and trust you. So one question I want to ask is, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the word Instagram? If you don't mind, just think about that for a second. Usually the answers that I get, of course, if we were in person, the answers I would typically get are influencers, pictures. Sometimes people say it's hard or confusing or I don't understand it. So many different answers that I get. And wherever you are on the spectrum of how much you know about Instagram or how much you use it, it's okay. Wherever you are is okay. What I'll be presenting today will be a range of advanced, intermediate, and beginners. So I want to make sure that I'm able to give information that everyone can relate to in some way. But if I'm going over something and you say, well, I already know this, Jasmine, that's perfect. And if I'm going over something and you say, wow, this is so advanced, I'm so confused, that's perfect too. It's okay wherever you're at, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. The first secret that I want to share is, if you're not already, make sure that you're using a public business profile on your Instagram. Now, there's a way for you to check to see if you don't know if you are or not, if you're using a public business profile already. If you look at this image on the right, you'll see a phone. And at the bottom, all the way at the bottom, you'll see where it says switch to professional account. So professional account means business. Okay, so it used to be called, Instagram used to call it a business account, but then they changed it to professional account. So could be a little confusing. But take a picture of this if you need to. And again, as Bill said, you will get these slides, but at the bottom it says switch to professional account in blue. Now, if it says that, switch to professional account, that means that you currently have a personal account, okay? If you look at your Instagram, and this is in settings, if you're looking in settings and you look at this section, and it says switch to personal account, that means that you already have the professional account. So it's essentially going to tell you the opposite of what you have. Okay. Now, the reason that we want to use a public business profile, we have a couple of reasons. The first is a public profile lets your potential customers know that you are open for business. I see this a lot where I'll be on Instagram and I'll come across somebody's profile and I can tell based on what I can see, and it's private, I can tell that they're in business. They're a realtor, they're in business doing something, but their profile is private. Now, this doesn't allow me as a potential customer to window shop, right? To browse a little bit, to see if I like this person or not, to see if I would be interested in doing business with them. But a public profile allows me as a potential customer to take a look and see if I can relate to this person. So making sure that it's public, number one, and then making sure that it's a business profile. Now, this is the importance of the business profile. And again, professional is what Instagram now calls it. When you have a business or professional account with Instagram, you get access to extra features that you don't have on a personal account. And there's no charge to switch it to, you know, a professional or business account. You just have to connect your Facebook page and you're all set. So it's very simple to switch over. So you get access to these extra features. There are these little buttons, these little boxes that will actually appear on your profile when you switch over. And these boxes are contact. You could do a book or reserve. And book could be, if you look on the right-hand side, you'll see these action buttons, these booking services that we use. Acuity for scheduling appointments by square, book a table if you're a restaurant. Chop is to reserve, or Eventbrite, get tickets. So there's all these different third-party services that you can connect to your Instagram and have these action buttons on your profile. There's also analytics and insights that you get when you have a business or a professional account that you cannot access when you have a personal account. And the analytics are important because this allows us to see if what we're doing on Instagram is effective, and what we're doing is reaching the right people and reaching our target audience. So at the bottom of the screen, it says how to set up the boxes. So if you want to add these action buttons on your business profile, and you can take a picture of this if it's easier for you, go to edit profile, contact options, and then add an action button. Okay, so if you want to add these special boxes at the top of your account, this is the instructions to do so. And I recommend having these buttons if you have a need to do so. I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second and just see if there's any questions. And unfortunately, my screen does not allow me to see them while I'm sharing my screen. So just bear with me for 1 second. All right. So Rose says that her account asks if she wants to switch to a personal account and switch to a business account. That's very interesting, Rose. So you might have what's called a creator account, I believe is what it's called. So a creator, I think it's creator, I think so. So a creator account is for someone who has more of a artsy account, photography, things like that. So if that's the business that you have and you want to stick with your creator account, you can. If that's not a business that you have, if you're not in like an art role, you might want to switch to the business account. All right, so Antonia said he got confused from where on the settings you're getting those action menus. So for the action buttons, let me go back to sharing my screen. So if you want, first you have to make sure you have the professional account or the business account set up already, or else you won't be able to even access this. So first make sure you have that business account set up. And again, you'd find that by going into settings, then go into account, and then at the bottom you'll see a blue, blue option here at the bottom. So once you have that, you've got the professional or the business account set up, you'd go to edit profile. Now edit profile is actually going to be in a different place than in your settings. So your edit profile, you have to make sure that, you probably can't see my screen or my phone here, but on edit profile, you actually have to be on your profile to be able to access it, okay? You hit edit profile, contact options, and then add an action button. All right, so let's move on to number 2. How many hashtags should you actually use? So I get asked questions about hashtags all the time. So Instagram allows you to have up to 30 hashtags per post. Now, if you don't know what hashtags are at all, or you don't know how to use them, this might sound a little bit confusing, so just bear with me. If you're already using hashtags, a recent study came out and found that posts that have between 12 to 15 targeted hashtags perform the best. Now, targeted hashtags are, of course, very different than just using random hashtags, okay? So I would suggest, when it comes to the number of hashtags that you actually use, at least having between 12 to 15 per post. And if you can get up to the 30, you can get up to between 25 and 30 hashtags per post, I highly recommend it. Hashtags are free marketing. They are free, and hashtags are what make Instagram unique, where your target audience can find you just by using these hashtags, and you making sure that you're using the hashtags too. So don't miss out on hashtags. They're very important to use. I also get asked, Jasmine, where's the best place to actually put the hashtags? So again, if you are a current user of Instagram, you might notice that some people will put their hashtags in the caption of their post, and some people will put the hashtags as a comment underneath their post. There is no evidence that says that one place works better than the other. So you can really put them in the captions if you want to, or you can put them in the comments if you want to, and neither will perform any different than if you put it in the other place, okay? Personally, I put mine in the caption because I don't want to forget to use my hashtags, because remember, they're free and your target audience can find you when you use them. So just make sure you're using them no matter where you put them. So the fourth secret that I want to share is, some people don't know this, but you can actually follow a hashtag. So just like you follow somebody else's account, and when you're scrolling, you see their post, come up in your feed. You can actually follow a hashtag, and this allows you to actually see posts from brands and people without you actually having to follow those specific people. So why do we even want to do this? This came out a couple of years ago with Instagram, but why do we even want to do this? So for me, for example, I'm a social media coach and manager. I work with people internationally. For me, it doesn't matter where they live or where I live, because I can interact with my clients and my audience digitally. But for some of us, where we have a location-specific business, we don't want people who are international. If we, have for example, a car wash in the Woodlands, Texas, then we want to make sure that we're marketing to those people. So we want to make sure we're following hashtags that are specific to our target audience. So when we're following a hashtag, it makes it easier for us to target our audience, and it allows us to actually
10:45.
our audience. Oh, sounds like
Quincy, swallow. A Cooper swallow.
Not muted.
I hope so.
Okay, I fixed that. Sorry about that. Okay, so following the hashtag, you can reach a whole new audience and reach your target audience. And I'm going to actually show you how. So as I mentioned, for me, just giving myself as an example, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, right? Entrepreneurs and small business owners. So this is a picture, 2 different pictures here on Instagram, some screenshots that I took. If I want to work with women entrepreneurs, let's say it's specific, in Instagram, I can go into that search bar at the top and start typing in women entrepreneurs. If you look here at on the left, I have it filtered to tags, and tags is hashtags. So when I clicked on hashtag women entrepreneurs. You can see right underneath it, it says 1.9 M posts, 1.9 million posts have that hashtag. Now we look at the picture on the right. If I click on that little blue button that says follow, what that now means is that I will be following the hashtag women entrepreneurs. So now when I'm scrolling on my phone and I'm just scrolling through Instagram and I'm engaging with my audience, or I'm, trying to find some potential customers, or, I'm, just hanging out on Instagram and I'm scrolling, now what's going to happen is I'm actually going to see posts pop up in my feed that are using hashtag women entrepreneurs. So I'm not following these people who posted it, but they use that hashtag and now it's going to pop up in my feed. This is a really great way for me to find my target audience and to engage with my target audience without even knowing who they are. I just know that they're using the hashtag of my target audience and who I'm looking for. I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second and make sure that there aren't any, questions. If you'll bear with me 1 second so I can stop sharing that part. Gerald asked for the creative account, is it free? It is. So all of the accounts on Instagram are free. The difference is I've never used the creative or the creator account before. But if you actually, what I would probably recommend is if you Google Instagram creator account, you'll probably find, I've seen it before, you'll find like an article or like a frequently asked questions page of Instagram, and it'll tell you the difference between the different accounts. Somebody did ask, is it best to put hashtags under the post or in the comments? Either works. Wherever you want, it works just fine. The why use hashtags and what are the advantages? As I mentioned before, it's free marketing. Instagram and Twitter are probably the best two platforms to be using hashtags. And again, you want them to be targeted. I can't go into a whole bunch of detail around what that means, but having a hashtag strategy if you want to grow on Instagram is very important. Can you make changes on the phone, or are you required to make changes on a computer? So most of the things that I'm showing you here should be done on the phone or on your phone for Instagram. The Instagram.com, if you're doing it on your computer, Instagram.com, they don't have as many of the same features as the app on the phone. So I highly recommend doing your changes on your phone. It'll be a lot better. Question about finding the hashtag area. So make sure if you want to search for hashtags to follow, once you open up the app on the bottom, there's a little magnifying glass, little, circle magnifying glass. And that brings up a page where at the top there's a search bar. Okay, so you just want to make sure you click on the magnifying glass and then go into the search bar. All right, perfect. Great questions. Great questions. Make sure you ask. I'm always happy to answer it. I love Instagram. So if you ask me questions about Instagram, I'm happy to talk about it. All right, secret number 5. I get asked this question a whole lot. What is the best day and time to post? My response is, when is your audience on Instagram? So let's think about this for a second. Let's use an example of, let's say your target audience is college students, okay? I don't know what you'd be selling. Maybe you're selling headphones or backpacks for college students, whatever it is, but your target audience is college students. When do you think they're online? Probably not at 6 in the morning because they're asleep, right? They're probably awake and on their phones probably from the minute they wake up, but let's say late morning, afternoon, and then probably late at night, right? 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight is probably when they're on their phone or on social media. So I want you to think about, when is my target audience on Instagram? And that will help you. Now, if your target audience, for example, for me, entrepreneurs might be awake really early in the morning. They might be on their phones during the day, and they also might be scrolling on Instagram, late at night as well. So that one's a little bit challenging. So if you don't have a really defined time that you think would work, these are the most popular times. First thing in the morning, lunchtime, and evenings. So this kind of goes back to the first secret we talked about, and we talked about analytics and why the analytics are really important to be watching. There's a way to see when the days of the week, the time of day, when your audience is actually engaging with you the most. Facebook provides this information as well, but I love the analytics that they give you on Instagram on that professional or business account. So take a look in your analytics. You won't be able to see it if you're just switching over from the personal to a business one. You'll have to give it you have to post a little bit for it to give you some of that analytics, but use those analytics to find out when's the best time for your audience. Overall, Wednesdays are the most active social media days, just in general. I don't think it matters what platform, if it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok. I mean, Wednesdays are just the most active overall. It's the middle of the week. People are, not worried about the weekend. They're not worried about just starting work. So Wednesdays are a really good day. Weekends are the worst. So weekends, if you think about it, what are most people doing on the weekends? Running errands, spending time with family, with friends. Most people really aren't on their phones a whole lot. So if you can avoid posting on the weekends, it's probably the best. All right. Secret number 6 is how to share your posts to stories. Now, for some people, this might be very basic and simple, and you might already be doing it, but I have helped a lot of people with this. And so if you're a Instagram stories user, you like to look at other people's stories, or you're active in your own Instagram stories, you can actually share your post into your stories. Now, on the picture on the left, at the bottom, you'll see this little paper airplane. Okay, there's a heart, there's a little comment bubble, and then a paper airplane. So now this paper airplane, if you click on it, the picture on the right shows you what you'll see. The first option is add post to your story. So you click on that, it'll show you the what it'll look like once it's in your story, and then you can post it in there. And then that allows people to actually tap on that post inside your story, and then it'll take them to the actual post where they can then read the caption. All right, number 7, I love this one. Create content-rich captions. So this is going a little bit into the algorithm, right? So you hear this term a lot, the algorithm. Instagram and Facebook, they change their algorithm all the time. What does that even mean? There's so many things that go into it, but this is one secret that I wanted to make sure that I shared. Instagram actually monitors how much time people spend reading your captions. So Instagram monitors everything, algorithm. They monitor everything to see what people are doing. But if you have a post that you've got your picture And maybe you don't really write much in the caption, or you just use one sentence, or maybe you don't write anything at all. This actually will decrease the amount of time that people spend looking at your post. Now, why does Instagram monitor this? So if, let's say I post something and I'm giving you some tips about how to use Instagram, and you're reading it and you're like, wow, these tips are really great. And then you're reading it and you're reading it. Instagram is monitoring how long you're staying on that post reading it. And then when they see that there's a lot of people staying on this post and they're reading it and spending some time here, what does Instagram do? Now they share that post, they make sure more people see it. So they make sure that now when other people are scrolling, that my post pops up on their feed. So having, and how do we do this, right? So having these content-rich captions that allow people to actually spend more time reading is important. Now, we want to make sure that these captions are, like I'm saying, you're content-rich, and what that means is it's valuable. It's you're sharing tips and ideas, or things that people want to read, right? Now, sometimes I get asked, Jasmine, do people actually read these long captions? I see these long captions, but I don't really read them. Now, maybe you're not reading them because what's there isn't captivating for you, or what's there isn't really valuable, or you're not really interested in what this person is talking about. But there are people who read long captions. Now, they shouldn't be, super, super long, but not 1 or 2 sentences either. They've got to have some captivating engagement in there. Now, another thing in these content-rich captions is, if you've ever noticed on Instagram, they implemented this maybe about a year or so ago, where when you're scrolling in the feed, the only thing you see in someone's post, in their caption, is like this first sentence, right? And then you've got to hit this ... more button to actually see the rest of the caption. Now, why does Instagram do this? Again, it's the algorithm. They want to see how interesting is your post and your caption, where people actually want to hit ... more. If you can get people to hit ... more, that means that that first sentence that you put was captivating enough that people were interested. So I gave an example here on my Instagram and this post that I did, where the picture says #GameStrong. And then the first sentence is, here's one reason your Instagram account isn't growing as fast as you'd like it ... more. So, I mean, if you were scrolling and you're interested in knowing, oh, well, what's the one reason my Instagram account isn't growing as fast as I'd like it, you'd probably hit ... more, right? So in order for people to stay on the post longer, write something interesting for them to tap ... more, such as a question or a cliffhanger. And then when you're writing the caption, think in terms of microblogging, okay? So microblogging, what does that mean? I'm sure you're familiar with blogs, right? We write an article, or we write 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 words, and we want people to read it. So on Instagram, they give us enough space to write captions that are, again, long enough, but not too long, and engaging enough where people want to stay there and read it. Now, I know, I get it. You're probably like, Jasmine, this is so much, how do I know what to talk about? I get it. I hear the feedback all the time. I know it's challenging. But one tip that I have at the bottom of the screen, you'll see here, write out your rich caption first and then choose your photo to go along with it. I find that that's very helpful to actually write out my thoughts and the caption before I choose the photo, right? Because sometimes if you choose the photo first, you're like, what do I say about this? You know, you're just stuck on this photo and what you think should go along with it. But if you write out your caption and what you actually want to talk about, what information you want to give to your audience first, and then choose a photo, I find that that makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to pause here for a second because I know there's some questions coming in, and make sure that I answer them. So Maggie says, I have a personal and a business account. Is there an easy way on my phone to switch from personal to business account to make posts? So I'm not sure, Maggie, do you have, is it two separate accounts? When you say you have a personal and a business account, are those two separate accounts? Because if Instagram is saying switch to personal or switch to business, that might mean that you have a, what we were talking about before, that creator account. So I'm not sure which one you have. Oh, good question. So Gabe asked, can you schedule posts? Create a post, but set it to post at a later time. You can, and you can do that with third-party apps. So Instagram won't actually allow you to do that inside the app, the same way that Facebook page allows you to like schedule posts. But there's a lot of scheduling apps that you can use. There's Later, Buffer, Plan with 2 N's, P-L-A-N-N. Personally, I use Later. I love the Later app. It's very easy to use. So Eileen asks, what's the best way to share or share as timeline? So when you're doing a post, you know, do it right there to your feed, to your timeline. And then if you want to share it to your stories, I gave that example before how to do that. You can definitely do that. And then Tiffany asked, what's the difference in stories and the feed? They're two totally separate places on Instagram. They have, you should have different strategies for them. And that's two totally different things. I love Instagram stories, and we're gonna get a little bit into stories as well. Good question. So there's a question, does Instagram still not allow you to place a space between paragraphs on a post? And if so, what's the best way to do this? Correct. Instagram does not allow you to put a space in between paragraphs when you're writing out your caption. It's very frustrating. They still have not changed that. I don't know why. But if you use one of those scheduling apps such as Buffer or Later, you can actually go ahead and put those spaces in between the paragraphs, and it works. So if you do want to use a scheduling app, that's the best way to do that. Mark's asking if I don't currently have an Instagram account. So when I set up one today, do I set it up under my personal name, or can I or should I set it up in my business name? If you are going to market on Instagram for your business, use your business name. Absolutely. If, okay, how can I get the username I want on Instagram if I know it is available? If it's not showing as available on Instagram, then it might not be. The best way to do it is to search for accounts, and then that will show you what's already taken. A couple of questions about, you know, what are some tips on getting people to my page and getting some new customers, and targeting people. It all comes down to a whole strategy. The hashtags, as I mentioned, are very important. I really believe for Instagram specifically, adding massive value is so important because it's a very competitive platform. There's a lot of people that do a lot of the same things. So you've got to find a way to stand out. And if you can do that by giving massive value to your audience, I find that that's helpful. For example, for me, I post a lot of free information on my Instagram. And I do that because I want people to see, wow, Jasmine knows so much. You know, of course I would want to work with her or hire her, any of those things, because I'm already giving so much to them. I find that people enjoy that and they just want to keep coming back to the to my page. So if you can find ways to engage your audience and provide them with massive value, it's very helpful. Do I have to have a Facebook account to begin a business account on Instagram? Yes, you do. And for the business account, you do. Creating a professional account from my personal private account, will Instagram allow me to choose a different account name, or will it set it as my current personal private account name? So when you're creating a professional account from your personal, all it's going to do is it's going to keep the same name that you already have. It's not going to change it. Your name will stay the same if you're switching from that personal to the professional account. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go back so we stay on time. All right, secret number 8 is turn your Instagram into a shoppable feed. And again, you must have the professional or business account set up. You must have it connected to your Facebook in order to do this. But if you've ever scrolled on other people's accounts, you might have noticed that when they're posting something that they have for, it's available for purchase, you can actually tap on the image on that post and you'll see the actual product name pop up. It'll even tell you how much it costs. And if you tap on that little button that pops up, it'll actually take you to their website to purchase that item. So if you have products to sell that people can actually purchase off of your website, this is a great way to just give people an easier way to access your shop. So you have to set it up through Facebook. You've got to make sure it's connected. This screenshot that I took here, before you begin and turn your Instagram into a shoppable feed, you have to be approved for Instagram shopping. Okay, you have to make sure you're using the latest Instagram app, the version, and you should already have completed setup for shopping on Instagram before you can enable it from your Instagram app. So what I suggest for this, Google this. This is where I got it from Google. How to set up Instagram shopping. Put that into Google and you will find an Instagram frequently asked questions page that you can actually click on where it says, get approved for Instagram shopping, and then just go through the steps to do so. The reason this is also so important is if you look at the bottom of this slide, over 65% of Instagram users have reported purchasing a product or service from another Instagram account who they do not personally know, right? So what does this mean? This means that people, consumers who are on Instagram, feel comfortable purchasing a product or service from someone else on Instagram who they do not personally know. So there was a question that I was reading before about, I'm new to Houston, into the area, and don't know a lot of people. How do I get people, interested in my page? Whether you're selling a physical product that you can sell or not, the important thing to take away from this is people are interested in purchasing whether they know you or not, right? So even more reason to make sure that you are marketing on Instagram. So when you find that Google frequently asked questions to set it up, these are just the steps that it takes. Secret number 9, I'm gonna go ahead and continue here. Saves are the new likes on Instagram. So don't get too caught up on this because Instagram announced it might be hiding likes some time ago. I think it's been around 6 months or so, and they haven't gone through with it. I don't know why, but they've been toying with it and playing with it a little bit to see if they're actually going to take away likes. Some people, you may be one of them, have actually had this change happen on their own account. And it looks a little bit different. So if you look at the picture on the right here, this is a screenshot of my account. And it says liked by, and then it has the number. The number is what's the important part that they want to hide. So what they want to hide is this number and being able to actually see all these people who liked my post. So they want to change this for, certain reasons that I won't go into right now. But again, going back to the algorithm with Instagram, Instagram looks at everything that people do on our accounts to see how many more people they should show our post to. So saves, which are also called bookmarks on Instagram, are the next thing that Instagram is looking at. So because they're taking away the likes and hiding them a little bit, they're playing with saves and bookmarks and seeing how many people are actually saving someone's post. Now, this is a hidden metric. Only the account owner can see how many people are saving a post, which unlike likes, everyone can see, right? If you're scrolling and it says 10,522 likes, you just see it right there, how many people liked that post. But the bookmarks aren't like that. Nobody can see it except the account owner. So again, it's a key signal for the Instagram algorithm. The more saves you get, the more Instagram will show that post to more people. Now, looking at the right picture, this is an example. This is my own post. This is a post that I did. This was back in January. So if you can see, it's kind of dark, but this post said 2020 Instagram trends cheat list. So what I did was I researched 5 trends that would be taking place in 2020 for Instagram. So if you'll see on the right, all the way at the bottom, I circled it there. There were 25 people who saved, bookmarked this post. That is the most saves I've ever gotten on a post, ever. Now, what does that tell me personally? That tells me the type of content and the type of posts and captions and information that people want to see from me. So people really liked this post. I even went on and broke down those 5 trends. So I did then a separate post individually for each trend and just talked about them even more. So again, going back to that massive value and bringing a lot of value and information that you can bring to your audience. So my suggestion for saves is find things that people want to go back to. Find things that people say, oh, I've got to save this for later. And Facebook has the same thing, where on Facebook you can save a post. I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, but I do it all the time. If there's a recipe or a sale, something that's happening that I say to myself, oh, I don't want to lose this post and I want to make sure that I go back to it later. That's what I want you to be thinking about for these saves. What are some pieces of information, tips, tutorials, recipes, video, explainer videos? Of course, you want whatever it is you're posting about to be about your brand or be about your business and something that's valuable to your target audience. Don't just put a recipe if that doesn't match with what you do or what you're selling. But finding different things that people want to just come back to for a later time. And I'm going to go ahead and see if there's any questions here before I continue. Question about Canva. So yes, you'll see here that I'm on Canva. I create everything that I make on Canva. Flyers, that 2020 Instagram trends cheat list I made in Canva. I create everything for Instagram in Canva. Gerald asked, how do you set up the shopping feed on Instagram? Just go ahead and Google how to set up Instagram shopping, and you'll find the article directly from Instagram, their FAQ section. It'll give you the instructions and it'll actually have the link for you. A question about if you're selling physical products, what's the best way to approach Instagram? It's going to be the same that I've said already about, making sure that you're providing value. You've got to have a strategy with your hashtags, with the content that you're putting out. Knowing who your target audience is very important as well. I will not be covering boosting a post. That's a question that Sherry has. I won't be covering that, but it is pretty simple to do. You can either boost a post or actually run an ad through the Facebook Ads Manager. You could do either one. For me personally, what I found to work best for Instagram is boosting the post, but it's very simple to do. You actually can see it here in this picture. That blue button behind says promote, and then just put in the demographics and your target audience, and it's all set. It's very fast. All right, secret number 10 is make stories conversational. So there was a question before about, what's the difference between Instagram stories and the feed, or, posting on the timeline. I want you to think about Instagram stories and the feed as sort of two separate platforms. This is the same for Instagram TV, IGTV. If you are using it or you've thought about using it, they're all obviously on Instagram. They're all on the same platform, but they're all sort of separate, right? There are some people who don't really scroll, right? So if you're only posting to the timeline or to your feed, you might be missing some of your audience because they're not scrolling at all. And then on the flip side, there will be people who don't scroll through stories. Stories is at the top. They won't scroll through stories, but they only scroll through the feed. So you kind of have to include both the stories and the feed to really capture everybody who's following you. Now, of course, Instagram doesn't show our stuff to everybody because, the algorithm, but it's just a better way if you can separate some of your stuff and promote and strategize in different places on Instagram, you're more likely to reach more people. So with Instagram stories specifically, I want you to kind of get this mindset and this idea of stories are a story. And I laugh at that because I think it's just so funny. We forget that Instagram stories is called stories, but I really want you to think about stories as a story and becoming a storyteller. So think about stories as an ongoing conversation, as an ongoing behind the scenes, an ongoing documentation of the journey of your business or your day. I am a very heavy Instagram stories user. I posted it before, but you'll see it here at the end with my contact information. If you do follow me on Instagram, you'll notice that I have stories every single day. And I find that people are very interested in the stories that I put out because I make it like a story. I don't use it just to promote. I use it to share with my audience my own vulnerabilities or challenges, or sharing tips about Instagram, I share a little bit about my family and personal life, but most of it I like to provide value to my audience. But you'll notice that very, very rarely do I stop the conversation in stories with my audience. It's always ongoing. There's always throughout the day, and it takes a lot of work. I know it does. People tell me all the time, Jasmine, I don't have time for that. I know it's challenging. So you have to find what works best for you. I'm not going to tell you to, go crazy trying to do all these different things. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we're usually wearing many, many hats. So I get it. But if stories works for you, just remember to become a storyteller, try to document behind the scenes, and check out what other people are doing in their stories and see what resonates with you, and see, okay, that's something that I feel I'm comfortable with doing in my stories. Or, okay, I like some of those things that they're doing in their stories, and then make it your own. I do not advocate for stealing or taking anything that anybody does, but just getting some ideas. At the bottom of the screen, you'll notice over 75% of Instagram users said that they spend more time in stories than scrolling the feed. That is huge. So if you're challenged for time, or challenged for where should I be spending more of my time, of course, where's your target audience spending more of their time? And you can ask them. I'm a big proponent of asking your audience what they like and what they want. But if you notice that your target audience is your followers are following you along in stories, much more than engaging with your post in your feed, maybe spend a little bit more time on stories than you do on creating your posts. And vice versa. Maybe your audience is not looking at your stories. Don't spend too much time on stories if they're spending more time on your posts, okay? So again, do what works best for you. One thing that I'll add here is I do have, at the end, I do have a slide with my contact information. On my website, I have a free guide for Instagram stories. So if you're confused with stories, you're welcome to download that on my website. It'll help you come up with a story strategy and some ideas of what to actually post about in your stories. All right, final secret is how to get more engagement on Instagram. So this is probably in the top 2 or 3 questions that I get asked. Jasmine, how do I get more engagement on Instagram? So my answer is probably not what you think, but my answer is engage with others the way you want to be engaged with. I'm a big proponent of giving to receive, and giving what you want to receive what you want back. And if we were in a live setting, I would probably ask you, okay, so if you just posted a post on your feed, and you sat back and you were waiting for people to come and engage with you, and then the next person, we all just post, and then we all just sit back and wait for someone to engage with us and like and comment on our stuff. We're all just kind of sitting back and waiting, right? But we're not engaging with the other people. So if you engage with others the way you want to be engaged with, I promise that you will get it back. So my question to you is, are you doing this? Are you engaging with others? Are you liking, commenting, sharing, saving, all of those things? Are you doing those things for others the way that you want it back for you? So my suggestion is spend 80% of your Instagram time engaging with others. The other 20% should be focused on creating your posts, creating your content, writing your captions. But if you can dedicate some of that time where you say, okay, I'm going to start to focus on marketing on Instagram, here's the amount of time I'm giving myself. Spend 80% of that time engaging with others, and it will come back to you. Bonus secret is, above all else, just be yourself. Just be yourself. I know it's challenging to be authentic and vulnerable sometimes, but people just want to see the real you and see the real authenticities. And I know I just said that word, but They really just want to see who you are, because again, going back to way the beginning of the presentation, the know, like, and trust factor is so important. And if you can be yourself and people appreciate you for yourself, then they'll just be attracted and come to you. So this is the slide with my contact information. Please, please, please take a picture of this if you have questions that I didn't answer. If you're interested in any of my coaching services, I have an upcoming Instagram group coaching that's starting in about a week. You can find that on my website as well. But please take a picture of this so you have it on hand. And then I also want to share this too. If you want to join my email list, I send out monthly newsletter with Instagram tips and new things that are happening on Instagram that you should know about, exclusive deals or workshops or coaching, trainings that I'm doing. You can text the word media to 33777. So in your text, you just put 33777 as the phone number and then text the word media, and you will be added to my email list. And I will check the questions here to see if there's anything that I missed. There's a question about getting verified. It's really hard to get verified. It is challenging to get verified. So if they're denying you, you just got to send in the stuff that they're asking for, but I've not seen a whole lot of people get verified. Dawn is asking if story posting is live. Yes. So it's kind of like in the moment. If you're using a scheduler app such as Later, I think their paid version of their app, you can actually schedule your stories. I've never used that before. But when you go into stories, you're just kind of putting it in there and then it's there. Is there a good number of stories that you should, post every day? What is too much? I wouldn't say that there's a certain number. I think that, for example, if you're not doing it at all, I probably, like today, you're not doing any stories, I probably wouldn't start with 20, just kind of ease your way into it. Again, if you'll follow along in my stories, you'll kind of see what I do there every day. Some days are different. Will you please advise, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, this is SCORE, Bill Klingberg. While Jasmine's answering the last few questions, I'm going to launch the polling questions. If you would please multitask and answer the questions while she's taking care of the last few of her questions. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Jasmine.
Thanks, Bill. How to ask your audience what they like. You can ask it in a post. So if you're posting something, in your caption, you can say, hey, what would you prefer? Would you prefer this or would you prefer this? I've done that before. You can also do it in stories as well. You can ask them which they prefer, ask them to respond, or you can use what's called stickers, and this might get a little confusing, but you can put up a sticker or a poll. You can actually do a poll inside the stories as well. My website is located on the screen. I hope you can see it. Let me scroll back up here. If a business has a location outside of Texas, is it possible to have two Instagram accounts with the same name? No, they'd have to be different. So I'd maybe put, Business ABC Texas, Business ABC California. I would try to have the same name and maybe just differentiate between, what the two locations. A few questions about my contact information. It should be there. And I'm sorry, you guys are asking so many great questions. I can't possibly answer all of them. Yes, this is being recorded. It will be posted, and then you'll also be receiving the PDF of the slides as well. You can see how much engagement your stories are getting. If you have the business or professional account, if you go into analytics, you'll actually be able to see more information. Going back to the media code here, the phone number that you put in is 33777, and then media is the actual message, the text that you'll actually send through. What's my opinion on auto likers? Do not use them. Do not use anything that automatically likes people's posts. Do not use any sort of, follow or unfollow apps. Anything that's automated in that way can massively, massively, massively hinder your Instagram account. It might work in the beginning, or you think it's working in the beginning, but too much of that, Instagram will flag and will start to stop showing your posts and your things to your audience. You definitely don't want to use anything like that. Follow for follow, only good if they're your target audience. Again, Instagram monitors everything. So if they catch on that it's the same people commenting on your stuff all the time, it's not good. So you got to be really careful with finding ways to go around Instagram. They've caught on to all of it. So again, here's my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me. And Bill or Score, you guys can take it over from here.
Okay, Jasmine, thank you very much. Audience, thank you for joining us. And that'll be the end of this webinar. Thanks again, and everybody have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.